Welcome to Pitch BrandTalk, where insights meet innovation in the world of brands. I am Ritika Raj, and today we are exploring the world of technology that powers our connected world with a brand at the forefront of digital transformation. So let's welcome Sumit Sonal, Head of Marketing at Qualcomm India. Hi Sumit, how are you?
I'm good, Ritika. Thank you for the kind introduction. How are you?
I'm good too, thank you, and I'm really thrilled to have a chat with you today on lots that's happening at Qualcomm.
Correct.
Right. So you've recently, come up with this campaign, Power to Move, and it sort of aims to connect the Snapdragon brand more closely with the Indian consumers. So what was the insight behind this, and how does this align with Qualcomm's overall shift towards a more consumer-facing identity?
Correct. Okay. So I think you picked up on the right aspect. I think we are becoming more of a consumer brand going forward in the country. Uh, as as you have known the brand Snapdragon, Snapdragon is an enabler brand, right? We
Yeah.
enable our partners, our customers to do better. Whether it be anything, right? Whether you are in gaming, whether you are in photography, whether you are just selling your devices, right? We are
Right.
enabling our partners, our customers to make those right choices. I don't think in the last few years, and if I recap the last 5 years, we have built the brand Snapdragon. Consumers
Yeah.
see it on their phone, now on their PCs, even also in their cars now. But the idea together this time is to connect all these individual dots together so that the customers start seeing the impact which a Snapdragon brand brings to them, whether they are inside their cars, inside their homes, or even holding their phones in their own hands, right? So this
Right.
is the connecting thought. We are now becoming a more consumer friendly brand, consumer facing brand. You will see us across all the cinemas, across all the outdoor hoardings, digital advertising, influencer content, and so much more. So the idea is simple. The idea is that consumers should understand and should ask for Snapdragon. There was a time that people used to go into the stores and ask for a Snapdragon branded product. Now, in the
Right.
last few years, we have seen fierce competition, right? And especially in the
Hmm.
semiconductor space. The idea is to stand tall, especially with our name, stand tall with the claim of power and performance. That is what we have always stood for, and the idea is to give long-term benefit to our customers.
Right, right. While you talked about, what was the insight driving this campaign in particular, we're also in the middle of the festive season, which is,
Correct.
heightened demand for smartphones and tech upgrades in general. So then what were the consumer insights and behaviors that you've picked to design this campaign, and how do they sort of inform the messaging and the positioning of Snapdragon, powered devices?
Sure. So, if you look at the India market, we on a rough basis, we sell almost 140 million phones every year, right? And even if you look back at 2021, 2022, you will find that this number, which is 140 million, has mostly remained stagnant. Now,
Right,
especially out of that 140 million, the 40 million phones are actually sold during the festive season, right?
right,
And that is why it is such a crucial period for any brand
of
to
course.
become super visible at that point in time.
Right.
Now, the biggest insight what we got from our consumers, right? People are looking for phones which are and just look at us as consumers, right? At the before brand marketing guys or before marketing guys, we are the consumers first, right? So this is how people search. People search for phones under 10,000, phones under 30,000 rupees. People understand the price bracket where they want to go, right? But when you decide on these particular products, right, you do not know which chipset is powering which particular phone,
Yeah.
right? And the understanding of semiconductor of what a CPU or a GPU does is very, very minimal in our consumer market today. Our idea exactly stems from the same point, right? It stems that if you look at the brand Snapdragon, we have been known, right? We are a communication company first, right? Our journey as a brand actually started from a modem, right? And now we build the entire SoC, what we call system on a chip. The idea was that how do we enable consumer, right? Because Snapdragon stands for longevity, great battery, great camera, great gaming, and great overall performance, right? We wanted to give that consumer an understanding on what they should be spending their money on. If you look at this
Right.
market, right, there are other competitions which I will not name for this particular discussion, but they, even when you buy a cheaper product, right, you will not be able to get the same experiences from that particular cheaper product. Now we know that our consumer market is moving towards premiumization, right? People are
Right.
spending more on their phones, but they're also keeping their phones for a longer term. Gone are those days where people used to change their phones in 10, 12 months. People now keep
Yes.
their phones for almost 3 years. Exactly, to cater to that decision, right? That you are holding your phone for a longer time, you should invest in a processor or in an SoC which will stand the test of the time, right? For those next 3 years, this chip will never fail you. So that's our promise. That's why the topicality of the campaign, and that is why we have been focusing so much on the Indian consumers today.
Right. You mentioned, the information and awareness being very minimal when it comes to processors. I remember, there was a shift that happened when people were moving from quad-core to octa-core processors, and it was
Correct.
all hearsay at that moment. Nobody actually
Correct.
really knew what it meant. So how are you sort of informing your customer about the technical aspects of it as well, so that they are aware, what Snapdragon has to offer?
Absolutely. I think, and I have a few points to mention here. I think as marketeers, our job is to simplify things and not complicate it further, right? Tech itself is very, very complicated. If you ask me, octa-core, getting into the GPU level, getting into the CPU level, what is the clock speed? These are all too technical. I think for
Right.
people like us, our job as marketing students and marketing people is basically to simplify this particular technology understanding. Now, how can I simplify it, right? For a layman, for a consumer, how can I simplify it? That is where use cases come into the picture, right? And for example, you have seen us talking heavily about AI, right? What is the implication of AI on your phone? Today, what we do is we build India specific use cases, right? For example, we will tell you that, hey, for example, you like this dress, right? But you haven't bought it yet. But if you want to
Hmm.
try it and you want to see how you actually look in that particular dress, that is now possible right on your
Yeah.
phone. Just upload your
Yes.
picture and we will show you
Yeah.
AI renditions of how
Yeah.
each and every dress looks on you, right? So by doing these small things, but by doing and showcasing those use cases, people understand it better and we simplify
Right.
our jobs, but we also simplify the consumer purchase journey. So the idea is
Right.
lead with use cases which people understand. Don't lead with jargons, right? There was a time when jargons made us look very, very cool. Gone are
Yeah.
those times, right? Now is the time to actually showcase what your phone and what the processor on that phone can actually do. And there is no better thing than showcasing a use case which actually matters to the end customer.
Absolutely. Now you've talked about a great campaign you have come up. You have a technologically advanced product, but now comes the access part. You have
Hmm.
partnered with key OEMs, also e-commerce platforms. So how has that impacted the distribution and visibility of Snapdragon powered devices during the festive period specifically?
Sure. I think partners, like you mentioned, partners have been very, very close to us, right? I come in from Xiaomi, so you will also understand that I have seen how a
Yes.
Snapdragon brand treats their partners. So I have that particular learning, and that learning was very, very important to me because today, now, when I deal with and when I work with all my partners, I now exactly know what is the right treatment that I need to offer, what are the different things that I can help them with. So partners is one story, but today, what we are also doing and how we are expanding is we have now exclusive deals going on with Flipkart, Amazon, Tata Chroma, and many more other channel partners. By doing this, we are also increasing our in-store visibility. So whether you are on the Flipkart app, whether you are on the Amazon app, or whether you are in the Flip or on the Chroma store, right? All of these places now will have exclusive sections where you can go and actually access and browse through all the Snapdragon products. Earlier, the
Right.
problem was we had the products, but not a clear separation when it comes to the retail space. Today, we are carving out that particular niche where people can actually go and see all the Snapdragon phones in one go, all the Snapdragon laptops in one go, right? Simplifying that purchase journey as well, right? Purchase
Right.
decision is one part, but
Yeah.
simplifying that purchase journey when you have convinced that the customer that Snapdragon is the best product to buy, when you land up inside that store and when you experience it, we want to control till that particular level that your experience is also on par, right? So
Right.
having these particular relationship with all the channel partners as well as with all the OEM partners, is making that vision come true. And that is where how we take care of the distribution, but we also take care of the in-channel awareness, which is very important to us.
Of course. You also mentioned, that consumer trends have changed, and Indian consumers are also increasingly gravitating towards a premium smartphone with advanced capabilities. So, how does Qualcomm address this trend through Snapdragon's features?
Sure. So in the premium segment, which we call at $600 and above,
Yeah,
roughly think about like
yeah,
$50,000 and above, the consumer shift is there has been a huge consumer shift. So if I talk about the Indian market, right, the lower segment, which was sub $200 and below, is actually kind of depleting. That entire base is actually degrowing, right?
right.
Where we actually see the growth is in the mid premium segment and in the premium segment. In the premium segment, we have very catered features. Like if you think, we recently announced our Snapdragon 8 Elite platform, right? What are the different things which you will see? This is the first time we are also bringing Orion CPU. So Orion is a CPU which we launched first on our laptop platform, which we called
Okay,
X Elite. Now, Orion CPU brings in a very different level of performance. Almost the industry leading performance is now also available on your phone. So, first of all, the entire thing, because you're holding your phone for a longer time,
yeah, of
you need great performance today and in the years to come. The
course,
second thing, which is super interesting, is addition of an NPU, which is a neural processing unit now on your phone itself, which means that most of your AI related tasks can now directly happen on your phone instead of
right,
depending on a cloud service, right?
right,
When you actually process AI related information on your phone, mostly in the traditional way, it will send it to the cloud, and then from the processing will actually happen on the cloud, and then the data will be pushed back to your phone. Now,
right,
first of all, this is not private, okay, because your phone data is actually leaving and going on a server, okay,
of course,
or somewhere else, right, and then coming back to your phone. So number one, we have moved the NPU now on your phone, which means all the AI related tasks can happen on your phone itself, okay. The second thing, which is the biggest advantage, is it's much more private. Your data is never leaving your phone. Number
right,
three, even when you are not connected to the internet, you can deploy all the AI features without being connected to the internet. This is
right,
the power, and this is the efficiency of AI efficiency, which you can now experience directly on your phone. You don't have to have the fastest internet. You don't have to have like for example, you don't have to even get concerned about your privacy, because all the
right,
data is on your phone, is getting processed locally, and you are getting the right answers then and there. So efficiency, speed, and performance. These are few key things which a consumer is looking at. And obviously, great battery life and things like those come hand in hand, right? But these are
yeah,
the things, these are the premium experiences which your consumers want. And this is what we deliver on our 8 Elite platform. Of course, we deliver it first on the top, and then we
yeah.
subsequently bring it down so that more consumers can come and experience these particular features.
Right. And that also answers my question on how you're using AI powered capabilities. But the thing you mentioned about the data not leaving your phone to go on a server, that's actually very interesting and commendable, because I remember reading something on LinkedIn that went like, the day somebody finds out about my chat GPT history, it's over for me. So
Correct,
that's really incredible. But we're talking about festive campaigns, and we're right in the middle of the festive season. But India is not one India, as we always talk about. It's a
correct.
lot of states, a lot of regions, and one festival is celebrated in multiple ways, multiple different, you know, I would say, nuances of people that live in India. So how do you also sort of make it hyper local, or and also connect with the culturally relevant consumers and trends?
Correct. So localization is a key aspect. You will of course see it. What we have started doing is that right now we are doing national level campaigns, right? And once you start seeing us in FY25, which is obviously starting now, you will
Right,
start seeing more local and more festive driven localized campaigns. Why is this important, right? Because our customers are widespread. They are just not in the urban metros, but they are also in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which is our core key market where we have to build awareness and preference. So hence,
right.
local marketing campaigns, local, for example, newspaper ads, local cinema advertising and things like those, right? We are now going into customized local touch points with localized artworks. You can't lead with English in these particular local markets. So we are now going into localized artworks, going into localized markets to create local impact. So this is the triple or the three level marketing which we are doing. Mostly the
Right.
campaign will remain the same, right? But localization efforts have already started and attaching into the right festive seasons of that each particular market. So this is what we are
Right.
doing. You will see us growing more on this particular front in FY25.
Right. Out of curiosity, you mentioned that the range of customers buying $200 and less range phones is decreased as
Hmm.
compared to earlier numbers. So would you say that's the same trend in the smaller towns and cities as well, or is that a different number game there?
No, you know what? Smaller towns are actually spending more.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
I'll tell you why the $200 below segment is decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, in the 200 below segment, you will find there are 5G phones, okay? But these are all competition 5G phones, which do not,
Right.
they give you 5G, right? But they
Hmm.
do not give you anything more than that, okay? Consumers are just not looking for 5G. Consumers are looking for a great phone or a great performer phone, right? That's why $200 segment is decreasing. There are no good options, right? And we are now
Okay.
trying to change that, right?
Right.
We have a solution coming in at $100, which will roughly be 8-9 thousand rupees, but that gives you the right promise of power and performance with Snapdragon. Right
Okay.
now, if you look at that market is completely driven by either feature phones, okay,
Mm-hmm.
or they have 4G phones, or not so great performing 5G phones, which nobody
Right.
wants, right?
Right.
Snapdragon is trying to change that, and we will show you how that market can grow very, very soon, right? So that is the point on the
Yeah.
market, how that particular
Yeah.
price bracket is growing or degrowing. The second thing is tier two markets are actually now spending more, right? Because we have seen a certain amount of saturation when it comes to like premium devices. We have seen
Yeah.
a certain amount of saturation in the urban markets, right? Urban markets have always been a little more premium, right? So
Yeah.
they have continuously moved up. Where is that growth potential coming in from? It is actually coming in from tier two markets. And tier two
Right.
markets, like for example, Bhubaneswar, from places in Bhopal, even places like Lucknow, Bareilly, and all of these particular smaller markets can now show you much more numbers. Like for example, this S series device by Samsung,
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
S24, right? Phenomenal numbers in tier two markets,
Yeah.
right? So the aspiration is huge, the aspiration is heavy, right? Tier two markets are now more capable to drive such numbers, and they continue to do so.
Right. So the aspirational aspect of things is driving that growth. Right. Interesting. And looking ahead, how do you see the role of AI and on-device intelligence evolving with Snapdragon's technology, especially as consumers are, expecting more and more from the device?
Sure. I think there's so much to do. And I'll be like, I think we are just scratching like 5% of the entire surface.
Right.
Uh, this AI conversation, while you and I have been knowing about this for the last 2-3 years,
Yeah.
AI has always been into the picture, right? Even
Right.
before people, like, even when people were not calling it out, AI was still there on your phone. It was still
Of
doing
course.
multiple things, right? Let me just give you an example of a phone. For example, on Xiaomi phones, you saw
Hmm.
this particular feature called Beautify, right? We have also seen, like for example, they used to check for the face. I think you will remember that feature, right? Correct, correct. So
Yeah.
all of these features have been there on your phone, right? This is now the time where you are now getting to see many more applications of AI, right? Now, what is Snapdragon doing it? So Snapdragon is now bringing AI features not only to your phone, but also to your computer. Okay.
Right.
So now Intel is now a competition for us, right?
Of
Intel,
course.
AMD, both are competition for us because we just entered the PC segment. But
Right.
we are not just stopping there. We are also now bringing AI features into your car. Okay,
Right.
like for that matter, Snapdragon Auto as a division powers a lot many cars like the Mahindra Thar Rocks, the older Thar, the XUV 3XO, the Tata Curve. The list is like endless, right? We are now bringing AI features inside your cars as well. So the AI deployment, while it started on the phone, it will continue to see different emergence and different use cases across different segments. You can use
Right,
now AI in, for example, in cars safety and security, right? You can now use AI on your laptop to take notes, or to translate, or to even have a conversation in a language which you don't understand, right? So
right,
on this particular phone, for example, if you are speaking, for example, in Mandarin and I'm speaking in Hindi, we can have a conversation just using this particular phone. So the
right,
applications are endless, right? And at Snapdragon, at Qualcomm, we are also now enabling the developer community. We can't leave the developer behind because they are the final people who will build these particular applications on the Snapdragon platform. So you will see a huge push coming in from us on the India developer community. That's already started. You will see a more heavier push on phones, auto, and PCs when it comes to AI use cases, and how we can tell people and how we can educate people on how AI can actually give them a better lifestyle, or can actually reduce their workload instead, and do those computation right on the device itself. So that's the larger idea, but the applications are now increasing and they will continue to increase in the next few years.
right. And we've talked so much about marketing to India, but for Qualcomm in India, what are the specific set of challenges and opportunities that India presents for the brand, and especially in terms of marketing this cutting edge technology that you have to a very diverse set of audience?
Correct. I'll say challenges have just started. When I took up this role, I think one of the biggest challenge which we have is that there are two brands which we manage. One is Qualcomm, one is Snapdragon.
Right,
Snapdragon is the more consumer facing brand, but I still see that not a lot of people understand the play of a processor in their phone, right? That is one of my biggest challenges, which which we as a team are now solving for, right?
right,
I think in the next few years, we have to exactly tell people what does the brand Snapdragon stand for. While it is
right,
known in different pockets, and like you said, right, India is such a diverse market, and we need to reach out to millions of people, right? But those attempts have already started, right? We are
right,
now educating more and more people on what is the advantage of a Snapdragon, right? When you
right,
buy a premium phone, why should you opt in for a Snapdragon? When you buy, for example, a foldable phone, have you ever realized that all foldables right now in the market today only depend on a Snapdragon, right?
mm,
So the biggest part is education and awareness, right?
right,
The second thing, once you're educated, once you're aware, we
mm,
want to build a very strong preference for the brand Snapdragon, and hence you will see more campaigns, more consumer campaigns coming in 2025 on educating, making you aware, and giving you that conviction that when you buy a Snapdragon, you are buying something completely different, right? It is
right,
not your run-of-the-mill processor. It is a processor which was defined for that particular device, which is defined to give you great experiences for the years to come. So
right,
that's our goal internally. I
right,
don't see it as a challenge. I see it as a ground zero, and from a ground zero, you can only build up, right? So that's
right,
the vision. To go closer to the consumer, to stand true to what we are, and to educate them on what we
right.
stand for.
Right. And in terms of marketing, you mentioned, building upon your AI capabilities, also, going hyper local. What else can we expect from Snapdragon and Qualcomm in the coming year?
you you can expect big things, right? So for example, you know that we are a proud sponsor of Manchester United, right? We are a front of chest partner for Manchester United. So for me, I think building the community and bringing the community. So we have almost 1.8 million insiders. We call our community as Snapdragon Insiders. And my one of my bigger goals is to build even bigger, like almost like a 10 million community out of India, right? The
Right.
second thing is extension of our global partnerships. You know Manchester United, right? So we are extending, like we are actually doing starting November, and whoever is watching this can also join us. We are doing actually a four-city tour with Manchester United, doing match screenings and showcasing the coolest Snapdragon products you can buy, right, in the India market today. So you will see us extending global partnerships. We are also a proud sponsor and a proud partner of Mercedes on the F1 track. So we will also try to bring that inside. So we are trying to
Right,
bring in those global partnerships, uh, and then communicating it to the Indian audiences. And apart from that, we will continue to build our brand. You will also now very soon start seeing in-movie integrations. Uh, Trying to become a cultural brand. We are trying to
right,
develop and build Snapdragon as a
right,
culturally relevant brand, right? I don't think advertising itself will cut the entire thing. You have to go into the culture, you have to understand who your consumer is, what they are consuming, and then you have to become a part of it, right? There are so many learnings from all the brand managers and all the friends I have had in the industry. There is so many learnings, right? But the idea globally is that Snapdragon is a culturally driven brand, right? And we
right,
will be in all those cultural touch points which you and I might have as the consumer, right? So
right.
that's the idea. It's advertising plus a culture mix, which we are trying to do here in India.
Awesome. Anything else that you may like to add?
No, I think elaborate questions, and I think I hope I have been able to give you the right answers.
Yes, with a lot of clarity. And I mean, I'm glad I had this conversation with you. I got to learn a lot. Thank you so much for taking the time today. It's been a busy week, I'm sure, for you. So thank you for taking the time and a very happy Diwali to you.
Thank you, Ritika, and thank you.